What's up, family? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm sorry for the delay. What is going on? Let me go ahead and add in our our TikTok family. Ooh, make sure I look appropriate here. We don't want any wardrobe malfunctions. What's going on, everybody? What's up? I'm seeing Shannon from Power Up. What's up, girl? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show tonight. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna add my TikTok family. So, what's up, everyone? It's your girl Samantha Lee, and y'all, we are here with another one tonight. And tonight's episode is going to be about 5 signs that breakthrough is near. I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Without further ado, I see Jason is in, Lorenzo's in, Pam, thank you, ma'am. What's up, new? Okay, pray so. Okay, new got a new person. I'm seeing Truth. I'm seeing different people in the live. So what's up, everybody? And tonight's live, like I said, I'm not gonna waste time. Y'all hear me doing laundry in the background. TikTok be wanting to collab with me. I'm not collabing, y'all. I'm not collabing. So anyway, I want to make sure I got everything together. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Okay, if you guys don't know, my name is Samantha Lee. I have a platform, been blessed to have a platform on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Unfortunately, I'm locked out of my Facebook because I have emails. It's my fault. I have emails that I had added on there when I was 21 years old, y'all. 21 years old, 21 years old. Like when I first got a Facebook. Okay. If y'all don't know, I'm from the MySpace generation. Okay. I'm from the AOL dial-up generation. All right. We had AOL dial-up and we thought we was doing something on AIM. Okay. Like that dial-up sound. And then we went to MySpace and we were fighting to be everybody top 8. And then we went to Twitter because Twitter was that deal. And so now we are in whatever. We went from Twitter. It was like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Okay, so we in the generation. Okay, so anyway, I haven't changed out my TikTok, my Facebook since like y'all. I was like, the email is like from when I was like 18, 19 years old. I don't know what I was thinking about. Like, so I cannot access it. They trying to get me to do these prompts because now I have grown a following on Facebook and I can't get on. So I'm trying to get Facebook back, y'all. I'm whatever. It is what it is. But anyway, we really about to do it tonight. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody on TikTok? So tonight we are going to talk about the 5 signs that breakthrough is near. Okay. And y'all, I've had breakthroughs in my life this month. There's been breakthroughs and back and forth and things of that nature. And so I really want to take the time to let you guys know what breakthrough looks like, because breakthrough don't look like breakthrough when you're going through breakthrough. And I still believe I'm going through breakthrough. So we gotta pray your girl into it, because it's a new season, baby. It's a new season. So anyway, guys, let's get into it. So one of the things I want to describe, first of all, is what is breakthrough. Breakthrough, and I want to go ahead and get a definition out here, because I don't want to be, y'all know I'm a little bit, I'm not country. I'm not like northern, but I'm not country either. Like, I just actually did an interview today and I was saying, like, I'm from Jersey, but I've been in Atlanta for a while. So I'm like Jersey, Atlanta, like, ugh. I lived in California for a little bit. So hold on, let me do this. Defining breakthrough. So we're going to define breakthrough so we understand. If my laundry is like super loud in the back, I will stop it. So breakthrough is a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development. It's denoting breakthrough phase. Breakthrough is an important discovery or event that helps improve a situation or provide an answer to a problem. All right, we're going to do the biblical definition of breakthrough because it's a little bit different. Okay. Biblical breakthrough is a significant overcoming of obstacles, often through divine intervention or a shift in spiritual understanding. I'm going to say that one again. It's a significant overcoming of obstacles, often through divine intervention or a shift in spiritual understanding. That is what breakthrough is. Somebody said, you doing laundry on live again. I sure am. Y'all, I got a baby. What you want me to do? You got to do laundry when you have a child. Okay, that's part of the mommy duty. Cook, clean, laundry. That's mommy duties 101, family. Okay, so I need you guys to just before I get on, I clean my kitchen because y'all know Sam can't think without a clean kitchen. But if the laundry's loud, the laundry's loud. I'll be right back, family. The laundry's loud. Okay. Okay, family. Sorry about that. The laundry was loud. I ain't gonna lie. It was actually getting in the way of me reaching some thoughts. So I'm not gonna lie. It was loud. But cleaning, as a mama, cleaning is fundamental. Okay. I know some people don't clean nowadays, but one thing you must know about me is that I'm clean freak. Okay. We gotta. So if you are in the market of wanting to date a mom, somebody's mama, 3 things that you must be looking for: can she cook? Can she clean? And yeah, can she cook? Can she clean? What was the other thing I was saying? Cook, clean. That's only. Oh, do laundry, which I think is grouped in cleaning. Anyway, besides the point. Stop the laundry. Let's get into it, family. So we now understand that biblical breakthrough is the overcoming of obstacles, correct? The overcoming of obstacles, often through divine intervention or a shift in spiritual understanding. That means that you are going to go through some stuff to get to your breakthrough. You are going to go, like, you have to understand that breakthrough feels like breaking. There's a reason why you're breaking through, because it feels like breaking. I will tell you that this month of June, if I could just be completely transparent with you guys, has felt like breaking. It has felt like I go up, I go down, I go up, I go down. And God in this season was showing me that no matter what it looks like, God is sovereign. His divine plan is at work, that nothing is coincidence. Everything is spiritual. Okay. He has shown me that in this time, that as much as we want to, that's a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is spiritual. Every single thing is spiritual, whether it's negative or whether it's positive, it's spiritual. Okay. And so with that being said, some of you guys maybe have been praying for a breakthrough, wanting a breakthrough. But one thing you must know about breakthrough is uncomfortable. Breakthrough does not feel good. One of the first signs I want you guys to know about breakthrough, and I took some notes, so I'm gonna get them out because I want to make sure I say everything. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts, and I don't want to miss it, miss the perspective. But all right, come on. All right, phone. All right, come on. 5 signs. So the first one is that pressure intensifies before breakthrough. Pressure intensifies before breakthrough. One of the first things that you must know about breakthrough is that it does not come without pressure. Pressure builds diamonds. It also breaks rocks, dirt rocks. So you have to know, for those of you guys who love comfort zones, for those of you guys who like doing what you've always been doing, breakthrough is one of those things that is going to require you, it's going to cost you your comfort zone. The pressure absolutely intensifies. And so as you feel like everything around you is shifting and breaking, you're losing your job, your health is being challenged, you're believing God for promises, and it looks like it's the furthest thing from possible. You're stepping out in faith in a way you've never stepped out before, and nothing seems to be working. And you're like, God, where are you? I'm doing everything you're asking me to do. I'm being obedient, and yet I am facing consequences and pressure that I have not felt before. And that is the sign that is breakthrough. I want you guys to know that trials and tribulations are the mark of God doing something. Now, some of you guys, trials and tribulations are the mark of disobedience. You've decided to do your own thing, and you're one of those people who have been called and you've been chosen. God's not willing to just let you go. God's not willing to just push you, just say, forget this one. God says you're called and you're chosen. I am specifically invested in you getting to the place that you need to get to, because there is something on your life. There is something I want to do through you, and I'm not giving up on you. I'm not giving up on you. So what you must understand is one of the first things when we surrender to God, when we say, God, have your way. I want what you want for me. I like these promises that you're showing me. Like I told you guys in the beginning of this year, God had caused me to dream again. When I started dreaming again, God said, okay, wilderness season it is. Wilderness season for Sam for 300, Alex. And Sam started a wilderness season where God isolated me. He isolated me from my comfort zone. He caused me to get into a place of challenging the ways that I've gone about wilderness seasons before. And so because of that, he broke me out of things that I didn't even realize I needed to be broken from. Because when we see trials and tribulations, travel, you have to look up James, because James, travel just said, I don't believe in tribulation as a God thing any longer. That's not biblical, travel. Sorry. I know you might not like that. There's two. Okay. Travel just got me back. Okay. Let me go backwards. God does not tempt us. God tests us. He allows tests and trials to come our way to refine us. If you think about how refining in the Bible is described, it is described like the process of gold. And gold, to clean and purify gold, is a process where you turn up the heat and you let the impurities rise to the surface. And when those impurities rise to the surface, the person that is purifying the gold wipes off the impurities, heats it up again, wipes off the impurities, heats it up again, wipes off the impurities, heats it, pops, wipes it off, until the person that is purifying the gold can see their reflection in the gold. God's process is very, very similar. He turns up the heat in your life. He turns it up. You're going to be going through some things. You're going to be tested in some ways. And you're like, God, I have no idea what you're doing. But if you're facing trials and tribulations, good news, I want to tell you something. God is doing something. That if you're being obedient and you're walking with God and you are trying to walk this thing out with him. If you're going through trials and tribulations, there's a promised land with your name on it. Hear me clearly. The first thing you must know you need to do is be obedient. Why am I saying that? Because family, when I was going through all these things this month and I was being tested and tried, and it hasn't just been a month. Me and Pam were talking about it. It's been months of just trials and tribulations. Just, I believe in God for something. I'm saying, God, I thought you were going to do this. I thought you were going to do that. I thought I was supposed to be here. I thought I was. And God's not like, God keeps showing me this promise, but I don't see it. God keeps showing me he's taking me places, but I don't see it. But in the process, he's causing me, in teaching me how to be obedient, teaching me how to train me to be in certain situations. He's training me that, okay, when I say this, you go this way. When I say that, you go that way. And you may not see it right now, but I'm about to do something. I was just listening to a young lady today, and I thought it was really, really interesting what she was saying, because she said, God, oh, my daughter just, Soraya, you just scared the mess. Y'all saw me jump? What's going on? Okay, well, you can go in there, mommy. When mommy's done, we talked about mommy working, right? Okay, so when mommy's done, mommy will cut your nail. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Let's go into our room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Be blessed. What you want the... Okay. Sorry, y'all. I tell you. Did y'all see me? I literally, she jumped. I jumped. Anyway, back to what I was saying. When God is calling you into a season, one of the first things he's going to show you, let's start from the very beginning, is a promise. He's going to show you a dream. He's going to show you something that looks very attractive to you. Why? Because you were designed for it. You were designed for the elevation. You were designed for it. And so he's going to draw you to something. You're like, why? Why I can't let that go? Why I can't let that dream go, God? I don't understand. My life is different. Here I am, but why can't I let this go? Why can't I let that go? And God, it's a God dream. When you can't release it, somebody said this to me the other day. When it's a God dream, you can't run away from it. When it's God drawing you towards something, you can't run away from it. Human emotions are fleeting. But when it's God driven, it's spirit driven, it doesn't really go anywhere. It continues to grow without any reason for it to grow, right? And so you have this situation where God shows you this, and you're like, you know what, God? I want what you want for me. I actually want that wife. I want that husband. I want that job. I want that promotion. I want what you want for me. And God's like, oh, you do? Not that I didn't know you were going to want it, because I created you. I know what you like. Well, great. And scene. Once you agree to the promise, God now takes you through a process. And if you are not obedient to the process because you've already said yes, right? Let's say you say yes to the process and you're kind of being obedient, but you're not fully being obedient the way God has called you to do. He's going to force you into a situation where the only option you have is obedience. And when you start being obedient, he starts showing you a little bit of favor. He starts showing you that he's faithful. He starts showing you in little ways because it's very small. God is incremental with his stuff. He asks you to do little things. Pray a little bit more. I'm going to wake you up in the middle of the night. I'm going to see if you get up. I'm going to test you in little ways before I test you in big ways. And so that's what the beginning of the wilderness process is. And when you say to yourself, okay, well, God, I'm kind of busy. I'm tired. I just got a lot going on. I know what you're telling me, but maybe I'll do that during the summer when I'm free. Maybe I'll do that when my kids are away with their grandparents. Maybe I'll do that, when I'm a little bit older and I ain't got. And God's like, oh, wow, you think I'm on your time. That's funny, Sam. That's actually hilarious. He sits you down. Bam, magic. Something happens. Whether it could be anything, family. God will sit you down. You see this all the time. When you're called and you're chosen and there's something on your life that needs to happen soon, he's going to sit your behind down. Especially if you one of them people that can't sit your behind down. You're always finding something to do. He's going to find something else. He's going to find a way to get you to focus on him. And whatever was coming before him, whatever was taking the place of him, he is going to remove those things. So you have to be anything that takes. He's a jealous God. He don't take kindly to anything coming before him. Your job, money, I don't care what it is. If it came before him, he's removing it. It is what it is. And so as you go through this process, he's starting to remove things. He's starting to remove things. He's starting to remove things. But you're also feeling favor. You're feeling peace. You're feeling connected. You seeing rainbows. You seeing different type of birds in the sky. You seeing different clouds that talk to you. You seeing numbers. You're like, oh, I'm in alignment. Like something is happening here. And you are in alignment. You have now tapped in. You're saying, okay, God's like, you want to go in this process. I've got a process for you. And you start feeling peace. You start feeling closer to him. It's encouraging your obedience. And then something else happens. And you're like, wait, hold on. I didn't see that coming. You start freaking out. You're like, God, where are you? I thought if I was walking this path with you, you weren't going to let bad things happen to me. And he's like, oh, contraire. I allow bad things to happen to good people. Do we not forget the story of Job? where the enemy's standing in line and he's roaming around the planet trying to find somebody to overcome, somebody to steal, kill, and destroy. And it gets up to it, the enemy is waiting in line just for his turn. He goes up to God and he says, God's like, so what you been up to, enemy? And enemy's like, I just been all around the world trying to find somebody to steal, kill, and destroy from. You know what I'm up to. And God's like, well, have you considered my servant Job? So you're now in a situation, Soraya. I told you what my mommy was doing. And I see you snuck a lollipop. Get in your room. We'll talk about that later. No. I saw what you did. You snuck a lollipop. Mommy didn't say yes to that. We need to go in our room. Anyway. So anyway, as we go along. So you go, he says, my servant Job. And as you go through the whole process of my servant Job, and Job comes up the line, blah, blah, blah. And so he now is suggesting someone that God is bragging on. God is like, my servant Job is that dude. Like, I don't care what you do, enemy. He is not getting off me. He is on me. He is locked in. I don't care what you take away from him. I don't care what you got going on. He is locked in. And so anyway, you go through this he goes through the process of everything being taken away from him. Everything being taken away from him. It's not, God allowed the enemy to test Job. We see that in the story of Job. It's biblical. We see that when Jesus goes after he fasts and prays, the Holy Spirit leads him in the wilderness to be what? Tested. When the Israelites were released from Egypt, what happened? They went to a wilderness to be what? Tested. It's over and over again. David, he went through a process. He was anointed as king, and he went through 20 years of a process. He went through 20 years of being tested and tried before he was ever promoted as king. Joseph went through 12 years of being tested and tried from a pit to a palace before he was promoted as king. So, or second in command in Egypt. Again, he had everything taken away. David had everything taken away. Abraham had everything taken away. Jesus had everything taken away. We go, the wilderness, the Israelites had everything taken away. It's part of the process. It's part of biblical process. When God is trying to create something in you, you go through a process. It's biblical. It happens over and over and over again throughout Scripture. He puts you in a position where you need him. And why does he do that? He's not doing it because he's cruel. He's doing it because he's kind. And so as you go through this process and you stop fighting the process, and you just allow the process to be what the process is, and you become obedient, and it's not so much anymore. You actually like obedience. You like having this closeness with God. You enjoy this closeness with God. You enjoy having this moment with him, and you're having the peace that comes with it. And it starts getting really exciting for you, seeing the miracle signs and wonders that comes with walking this path. And it's not so much about the destination anymore. It's about the process. And as you're nearing the end of this process, you would think that it would be, easy ice cream and cupcakes. No, when you're nearing the end of the process, you now have to break through. If you think about video games, if you think about sports, if you think about anything, when you get to the end of that journey, when you are at the finish line or the finish line is in sight, it is the hardest mile to run. I talked about this on my podcast, More Than Just Pretty podcast, where I hit a wall about a mile out. I did a half marathon, and about a mile out, I really felt like I couldn't go any further. But I only had a mile left. I had already ran 12 miles. But as you get close to the end, the ante is up. And this is where the enemy comes in. And God allows the enemy to test us. What do you resort to? When everything is, y'all, when everything was hitting the fan this month, when everything was happening in my life, I'm like, God, what is happening right now? I feel like when I'm up, I get back down. I get back up, I get back down. I get back up, I get back. I'm like, God, what is happening? And I didn't understand that when you are at the end of the road, when you are breaking through into a new season, the heat turns up. Now God is testing you. Did you forget everything that we did practice? Did you forget that I'm the same God that brought you through the last couple things? Family, I've had to remind myself through every single situation that God has allowed me to go through, to remind myself of who he has been. He's the same God that did this, that did that, that did this, that did that, that did this. And as I remind myself of that, I remind myself that God is with me. It's undeniable when the enemy wants to tell you, no, God ain't with you. He's not listening. Look what's happening in your life. Look at what you just lost. Look at where you at now. He wants you to think about that. And God's like, listen, I'm the same God that could have stopped the Hebrew boys from going into the fiery furnace. I could have prevented them from ever entering into the fiery furnace. I could have stopped them from entering into the lion's den. I could have stopped it. I'm the same God that could have stopped it. But I didn't. Why didn't I? Because I wanted everybody watching to see something happen that was a downright miracle. So if you guys are in a situation right now where it's like, I do not see my way out of this. I do not know how this is going to go. This has actually gone in a completely different direction. I want you to know that you're in good company. I want you to know that you are in good company. That the type of faith that God is requiring of these men, he's saying, listen, where our lives are on the line. We're about to get thrown into a fiery furnace. And the king says, so are you going to obey me? Are you going to bow down to this calf image of me? Or are you going to go into the fiery furnace? And they said, listen, even if our God doesn't, we serve a God that can save us, but even if he doesn't, even if he doesn't save me, he's still good. Even if he doesn't show up in this very moment, he's still good. That's a type of faith that's required from us in this season. It's going to look contrary. What God is calling you to, your life is going to look the absolute opposite of what God is telling you in your private time. God might be telling you, you're going to be the first millionaire in your family. You're broke right now. God might be telling you this dream that you've had, it's going to come to fruition. You're the farthest you've ever been from that dream. And God's like, that's on purpose, because I want you to stop relying upon what you see to believe. I want you to start relying upon the spiritual sensings, the things that are unseen, because what's unseen is eternal. Family, y'all can believe what you want to believe. But there's a spiritual world, whether you're a Christian or whether you're not. Everybody can agree. There's a spiritual undercurrent that's at work. You've got people doing new age stuff, talking about spirituality. You've got people doing witchcraft and they're under spells. You're seeing the people talk about demonic. You're talking about we know, hands down, there's a spiritual world. There are things that we do not see that are happening as we are seeing things that we do see. It's undeniable. You may not believe that Jesus, you may not believe what I believe about my Lord and Savior. You may not believe no weapon formed against you will prosper. You ain't got to believe it. I believe it. I've seen it with my own eyes. However, we can all, I think, agree strongly that there is a spiritual undercurrent. Everything is spiritual. Everything. All right? And so as we're going through this journey and we're talking about this, that's what I want you to understand, that as you're going through tests and you're going through trials, it's not random. You're not going through these things for no reason. You're being tested. Pass the test. The reason why it looks like you're so far away when you're the closest to it is because the enemy, just like the enemy wants you to give up, God wants you to break through. Just like the enemy wants you to give up, God wants you to break through. And part of your learning, part of what you have to understand is that God stands outside of time. He already knows what your story is going to be. And a lot of us are so hesitant to listen to him, to obey him when he speaks, when he's telling you, listen, you got to make this move. If you don't make this move, you're going to pay the consequence. And a lot of times, family, let me tell you something. Some of the hardest things that I've had to go through in this season brought about the biggest breakthrough. That I looked at it in the moment like, oh, God, what are you doing? Why have you forsaken me? But when I stepped outside of it and I allowed the Holy Spirit to minister to me, I understood that what God was calling me to was greater. That whatever story he was going to have through my life is going to be bigger. That I'm over here looking at my circumstances the way everybody else sees it. But when I started seeing it with my spiritual eyes, I started understanding that all throughout the Bible, God has set up stories that were impossible, that was the least likely in their family, that was the least likely for them to succeed. He allowed those circumstances to happen. Why? Because he already knew that there was a story that he's going to write that has your name on it. There's a specific story that you're supposed to tell, and your life is going to be that story. And I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, God, why is this happening? I want you to know that he's developing a testimony, whether you realize it or not. That you're not in this boat for no reason. That didn't happen for no reason. That these are all circumstances. God wants it to look, y'all, I'm gonna try to calm down because y'all know how I am. I get a little excited and I'm trying to calm down. I want you to know that God makes impossible situations and creates those things purposefully so that everybody watching, everybody that has an eye's view to what's happening right now in your life, he wants everybody to know that there's a God in your life. He wants everybody to see the glory. He wants everybody to know, listen, the God that they serve is different. The God that they pray to is different. I counted them out. I thought they was never going to make it. I thought they was going to be lonely forever. I thought they was never going to get married. I thought they was never going to be successful. I thought the business was never going to break through. I thought God is creating a story. And what happens is when you decide to be obedient to his plan, family, you open up the door for the supernatural. You open up the door for a check to just pop up. You open up the door for something that you've been waiting on for years to just happen. You open up the door for God to do something that absolutely stuns you. Family, I tell you right now that in the month of June, for every week where I have gone through scamming incidents, I've gone through, oh my goodness, I've gone through so much in the month of June. And I'm here to tell you that every moment that I had a bad moment, God had a good one. Every time I saw that something bad happened, God allowed something good to happen. And why is that? Why is that? I saw miracle signs and wonders. It was so crazy that my mom was like, my mom and I felt like God told me to take my mom somewhere. I went there. And my mom, we were sitting around and everything like that, and she was like, Sam, this is crazy. This is really crazy, but you're being obedient. I said, Mom, I'm being obedient to God. I don't know what to put a name on it. I can't really explain this, but I really believe God is calling me to it. She's like, okay, Sam. Next day she calls me. She's like, Sam, I just got this devotional. The devotional says, lean on to your own understanding. I know it looks crazy, but God's going to make it make sense. And she was like, Sam, that's a little too on point. She's like, I think God is talking to me. I say, yeah, Mom, it's probably true. A couple hours later, she says, Sam, how much did we spend? Well, how much did we spend? And I told her how much. And she called me back that evening and she said, did you know that amount was deposited in my account this morning? That the leap of faith that you told me that you were making, and my mom had offered to pay. And I said, no, Mom, I got it. God deposited that amount in my mother's account the next day, this exact amount. And she said to me, Sam, you hearing God? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. You hearing God? I sent something to a friend, and that friend was like, Sam, did I tell you I was going through something? Did I tell you? I said, no, I had no idea. She's like, I just lost this. I needed this. This was the exact amount I would need because something's going on personally in my family. I didn't tell you, but this is what I needed. How did you know? I said, I didn't know. God just put it on my spirit. Somebody else calls me. I send them something and they're like, did you know that I was going through that this morning? I said, no, God just told me something and I just called you and told you. They're like, that's exactly what I was praying to God about. Then somebody else sends me a message and says, Sam, did you know that I was going through X, Y, and Z? I just went through this situation 3 days ago and you sent me this amount. It was the amount that I actually had lost. I said, no, I didn't know that. They were like, yes, that's what happened. When I tell you that when you open up the door to the supernatural, you see supernatural things happen. That's why I can come on here. Then I can tell you right now that there is a God that is working. When I'm calling people up and they're saying, Sam, I need you to pray over my situation because somebody's in the hospital and they haven't opened their eyes. And I call and I do this prayer and I'm just praying, guys. I don't do raise up people type of prayers. I'm not called like that. I don't know what that is, but I'm calling and I'm praying and somebody's eyes open. I can't express to you that when you open up the door and you start being obedient, you see supernatural things happen. It's not because Sam is whatever, because I'm not. I'm just a mixed girl from New Jersey. But I've learned in this season that when you start being obedient, God starts showing up. And that's what this wilderness season's all about. That's what this wilderness season's all about. Wilderness season is learning that if you take the step of faith, God meets you there. And as you're breaking through into your next season, sometimes going into new seasons, family, don't feel like you're going into new seasons. It feels like breaking. It feels like, God, why have you forsaken me? But he's actually building your story. He's actually doing a new thing. And you can't put new wine in old wineskins. He's like, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? That's why all this stuff is happening. That's why I feel like, God, where are you? God, what are you doing? I'm being obedient. King Jehoshaphat says to God in 2 Chronicles 20, he says, God, I woke up on a Wednesday and three things that I didn't even see coming. I'm being attacked. I've been obedient to you. I've done everything that you've called me to do. I could have attacked these cities before, but you told me not to. And now I'm sitting here and it's a Wednesday and I don't have the military. I don't have the artillery. I don't have the means to be able to overcome these three countries that decided to wake up and band together against me. And God says, over time, he goes before all his people. He says, God, I do not know what to do, but my eyes are on you. I do not know what to do, but my eyes are on you. And he literally, somebody in the crowd says, do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The Lord your God will be with you. He has asked you to go up on this hill and he's asked you to praise. Judah comes first. So they go up on this hill and the enemies that came to attack them, they made a loud sound, the Israelites, and the enemies destroyed themselves. What do I want to say about this story? That means that a lot of times, family, we wake up and there's a problem we didn't even see coming. We've been loyal, we've been down, we've been obedient, and this unforeseen situation comes around. And we're like, God, where are you? And God is saying, listen, I'm about to work this thing out in a way that you will witness the supernatural. Not only are you going to witness the supernatural, everybody watching, everybody that counted you out. He doesn't say, I prepare a feast for you in the presence of your family. That's not what the scripture says. The scripture says, I prepare a feast for you in the presence of whom? Your enemies. Why does he say that? Because he says, listen, I'm about to promote you in front of the very people that counted you out. I'm about to make your story seem so impossible. Like you can't come back from this. There's no way you're going to make it. There's no way we're going to see you do the things that your past years are the best years before you. Your past years are what you have to look forward. You washed, you this, you that. They're saying all these things about you. That can't happen for you again. You're way past the age. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I'm here to tell you right now, God prepares a feast for you in the presence of whom? Your enemies. So yes, the story seems very different. It doesn't look the way you thought it was. But God is setting you up to have a testimony. God's setting you up to have such a story that when you get out of all this, all people can do is get up on their knees and say, give God the glory. Because family, if we're living right, our purpose is not to give ourselves glory. That's a meaningless existence. It's to give him the glory. Give him the honor. Give him the praise. Some of us live for ourselves and that's empty. That's empty. A life we're living is with purpose. And your purpose is being written in the trials that you're facing now. You're going through these things and you may be like, God, why is this happening? And he's like, listen, I've got a story that you've got to tell. I've got a story that you've got to tell. I'm specifically writing your story. And if it was too fluffy, ice cream cupcake level, people won't resonate with that. But the bigger the story, the more impossible it seems, the bigger the glory. So family, if you're going through a season that doesn't make sense, if everything around you it just feels like everything, the walls are caving in. I don't know what you're doing, God. I'm gonna say one thing to you: be radically obedient. Let God work. Let God show you how he's about to make your dream happen in a way that doesn't even make sense. He's about to let everybody see, everybody that counted you out, everybody in the comments, everybody that got something to say. He's about to let everybody know specifically that there's a God that's working on your side. There's a God that's working in you and through you. This thing does not end here. This thing does not stop here. The only way this story stops is if you stop. And so that's why I'm doing this live, because if anybody's feeling that kind of pressure and everything seems like it's going haywire and all you've been is obedient, all you've been is trying to do what God has called you to do, I'm telling you that God is about to do a new thing in your life. And you are specifically going to have a story. Because family, we think about the lives here. We think about life here on this earth. It is temporary. We all got an expiration date. I'm trying to build my kingdom up in heaven. For real, for real. I don't know how long I have on this planet. You're not only building up, I'm building up for my heavenly kingdom. I'm trying to jump the ranks up there. Because I'm telling you, family, this spiritual stuff is real. Look around you. Look at what you see. It's real. It's all very real. Now, you can put your head under a rock if you want to. But what I'm going to encourage you to do right now, family, is I'm going to encourage you to be radically obedient. You feel that prompting in your spirit. God is calling you to do something. Do it. Don't delay. The more you delay your own promise. The more you delay your own wilderness. You want to get to the next level? Be radically obedient. I mean, radical. God tells you to do something, it's not going to make sense. Know that. It's not going to make you comfortable. Know that. But part of God's promotion, God's calling, is that when you do the weird thing, the thing that don't make sense to anybody, you have peace about it. Like you don't have money, but God's calling you to look for a house. You don't have another option, but God's calling you to leave the situation. God's everything He asked you to do. Normally, people would say, "Do this, this, and this," and God's like, "I want you to do it now. I want you to trust me. I want you to take this risk. I want you," because again, God can't move without your faith. And a lot of us want God to, we want to see God and then we move. God doesn't do that. I'm telling you that, family. I named like 8 miracles that I saw in the about a couple minutes ago. I told you 8 bona fide. I've experienced more than 8. Pam, I don't even know how many miracles at this point. You probably know better than I do. I don't know how many miracles I've seen. I've seen miracle signs and wonders. I have. I know God is real. I know God. Nobody can tell me that God ain't real. I woke up at a time that meant X, Y, and Z. That happened. It happened 2 days later. And that hasn't only happened one time, it's happened multiple times. How am I waking up at a time that predestines what I'm about to go through 3 days later? If God, that ain't a God, I don't know what that is. Because Sam can't wake up randomly at a time that magically happens 3 days later. No, there's a God that works. Somebody said $10,000 of debt wiped away. Ooh, if I could go through some of the things that God has done in my life, I'll tell you. I've seen the supernatural work. I've seen when I remember I was trusting God. God had asked me to wait on Him for something, and I remember that day I just saw cardinals and I saw these flowers and I saw these things, and I'm like, God, you're about to do something. I can feel it. I feel it. I feel it in the spirit. And literally, I came back to my house. He told me to go, and I went into the mailbox. I didn't want to go to the mailbox, but I did. And when I went to the mailbox, I saw a miracle. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. The day that I had been praying for Him to do it, He did it. And He did it miraculously. And it's not manifestation. No. It's trusting and having faith in a God. Because I'm not just coming up with things. My relationship with God tells me what to hope for. I know what He's telling me. He's driving the dreams. I'm not just coming up with stuff that I want. I'm saying, God, what do you want for me? And the funny thing is, a lot of us think that when God makes dreams or God creates stories for us, they're like bad dreams or we're not going to be having fun. No, I will tell you right now, this walk with God has been the most exciting walk I've ever been on in my life. I have had more excitement. I've had more of the dramatics. I've never been healthier. I've never been in this position in my life ever. And that was with a walk of God. Every area of my life has been blessed because of my walk with God. I'm telling you that. That's why I'm saying to you, I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. But I'm just telling you that God is just setting it up. He's just setting you up for a major breakthrough. But He has to put you through process first. He has to. He'd be irresponsible. That's like me putting Soraya and I'm putting her in front of a car. Soraya is 6 years old. She turned 7 in October. I'm going to put her in a car and I'm going to have her drive. And I've never taught her to drive. And I know she's not old enough and mature enough to handle a car. That's irresponsible. It's immature. Only the enemy puts a child behind a car. Only the enemy promotes without process so that you can sabotage and fail. That's what he does that for. But process is to build character. Process is to develop the kind of individual you need to become in order to manage what God is about to do. That's why I suggest to you, family, be obedient. Be radically obedient. Radically obedient. And I think this is Michael. Thank you so much, Michael. Michael says, preach, Sam, building treasures in heaven. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you for sewing into me. CJ Ward, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. But again, family, I say that to say, so again, I went off notes. And so let me do it. So the pressure intensifies before the breakthrough. Let's start there. The pressure intensifies before the breakthrough. You will feel overwhelmed. You will feel pressed, and you will feel under spiritual attack. 2 Corinthians 4:8 says this: we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. The enemy fights us the hardest when you're the closest to stepping into what God has for you. And so, family, I want you to hear me very clearly. Walk heavy. Don't allow the opposition. Resist the resistance. If you're dealing with resistance and the enemy's coming at you and unexpected things are coming at you, I want you to go harder. I want you to fight even stronger. I want you to swing even harder. I want you to believe in God even more, because the more opposition, the more of a threat you are. So become more of a threat. When the enemy's walking heavy, I'm like, listen, I might not have any strength in my legs, but guess what Sam gonna do? Sam gonna sit here and Sam's gonna keep swinging. Sam's gonna still sit here and come on a platform, and I'm still gonna talk about God. And what? And I'm still gonna do the podcast. And what? And I'm still gonna create the content. And what? And I'm still gonna go in front of people, and I'm still gonna talk about the goodness of my Savior. And what? I'm still gonna do it. I may not have strength in my legs, but I'm still gonna do it. And what, enemy? I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it, because guess that's where I'm at with it. So I tell you now, walk heavy. Walk heavy. And guess what God has done? Because every time I've done that, God comes through and he's like, you know what? I like this little mixed girl from New Jersey. I like how she thinks. She a fighter. I like fighters. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you created me like that. And I've seen, it's funny because I've had people come to me and they say, Sam, your obedience is inspiring. Because I don't think we've seen people walk like this. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know people who did walk like this. I didn't know this was a real thing. I think a part of me didn't believe in the supernatural like that. It wasn't until I started experiencing it that I can sit here and tell you how real it is. So I'm telling you to walk heavy. Be radically obedient. If God tells you to make the phone call, make the phone call. God tells you to text. God tells you to leave. God tells you to go. God tells you to stop. I'm telling you, be radically obedient. Walk heavy. Because with your obedience, you don't understand. Sometimes we think God is just trying to take something from us. God isn't the enemy's not trying to take anything from God's not trying to take anything from you. He's trying to propel you into purpose. He's never taking something from you. He don't have something better to replace it with. If he Y'all, literally, my YouTube went out. Okay. The only reason why if God is removing you from something, he has something better in store for you. Period. He don't remove without having something better in mind for you. He doesn't want little, inferior. He does exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ever ask, think, or imagine. That's how God rolls. God don't, anything God has for you is superior to whatever you have for you, whatever you choose for you, whatever you think is for you. So anything God has removed you from, any relationship God has removed you from, any person that no longer rocks with you, anybody that don't pick up your calls no more, anything that God has removed you from, thank him. Say, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, because you're about to bring me something better. You're about to work this thing out in a way that benefits me. I'm about to get double for my trouble. Every situation that seems impossible, God is about to do something better. God is about to bring something new. God is about to bring God. People sitting here laughing. They saying to you, I don't see how you gonna make it through this. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, sis. I don't see how you gonna get the husband. I don't see how you gonna get the wife. I don't see how you gonna get the job. I don't see how you gonna make that dream happen. I don't see how you gonna do it at this age. I just don't see how it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you right now, God said, listen, watch me. Watch me work. Because they're limited by worldly wisdom. I am supernatural. I do things in the impossible. I work in a realm you don't know nothing about. So if God is calling you to do something, do it. Don't delay. Don't allow your mind to overthink it. Don't allow the enemy to cause you to think about the past and the trauma and this and that and discourage you. Walk heavy, family. Walk heavy. If you're afraid, do it in spite of being afraid. If you're nervous, do it in spite of being nervous. Because everything God calls you into, he has a provision for you. He has a provision for you. Everything, every area God has called anybody in the Bible, he had provision. Every single area. In the wilderness, he created provision. David in the wilderness, he had provision. Abraham, when he went to the land of Canaan, he had provision. When Joseph went to where he went, he always had provision. There's always been provision. He will provide for you. So wherever he's calling you to, he's already prepared a place for you. Israel, when they were calling out to God to deliver them from the Egyptians, right? And they're like, God, please give us a deliverer. Please, God, give us somebody that can save us from the hands of this Pharaoh. And God starts talking to the answer. They're praying about the problem. They have no idea God has already started talking to the answer. So some of y'all are praying about things and are worrying about things. God's already provided. God's already made a way. God's already talked to the answer. God just needs you to take the steps. He just wants you to walk. He wants you to walk heavy. He wants you to walk without seeing. You don't need to see it. God says, go here on Wednesday. You're like, well, God, I don't have a reason to go on Wednesday. I mean, why would I go there on Wednesday? I'm going to look like a complete fool going there on Wednesday. God's like, go anyway, because I've qualified you. Family, there's been times God has called me to do things, and I'm like, God, I don't know about this. I remember there was somebody, I'm going to give you a story. There was somebody that I was, I'm working with my coach, and we were going back and forth, and she had given me the pricing for the coaching packages. And at the time, I didn't have it. I let go of a source of income. God had called me to let go of. He didn't want me to work with male clients anymore, one-on-one. And I let it go. Right. So I was like, fine. But that was an income, right? So from there, I'm going, and now I'm letting go of an income that he told me to let go of. I'm letting go of promotion. I was doing promotions for fitness brand peptides. I was doing a hair promotions. I was doing all these different things. God told me to stop it. I stopped it. Right? God told me to stop doing certain types of content. I stopped doing certain types of content. God told me to stop posting certain. So I'm doing all these things. And then he asked me to bring on and pay for something else that I'm no longer getting paid more for. So I'm like, okay, God, if you want me to do the coaching, that's fine, but you're going to have to provide because I don't have it. So she tells me the pricing. I'm like, God wants me to do this. I know this. So I feel peace about it. But then God tells me, pay her more. I'm like, wait, hold on. Pay her more than her listed price? Why would I do that? But it just kept coming up. And I know it's on the enemy. Enemy's not going to ask me to be generous. I know it's not me because I don't want to give no extra money like that. So I know that if it's coming up and it's calling me to be something that is a fruit of the spirit, I know it's God. So I decided to tell her, I said, listen, I don't know. I have this weird feeling that I need to pay you this amount of money. And I'm going to pay you this in the next 10 weeks. She texts me back and she's like, I've been praying about that. She's like, and I guess I have been disobedient. God, she had actually been talking to God about the number that God told me to pay her and the number she was charging me. And she was between those two numbers, but she didn't want to put out the number that I said because she was afraid that people wouldn't pay it. And so God had used me in a situation where I didn't know she was fasting and praying about this and went with the one that was safer. But God had used me and prompted me, making me think like, why would I pay her more? I don't understand. So I had to take a step of faith and say, this is the amount that God is telling me to pay you. And she's like, oh my gosh, Sam, you hear God. I was just dealing with that. I guess I was disobedient. She's like, well, I didn't want to pay nobody that. I didn't think anybody would pay that. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up. There's been times where I knew somebody was, I was on the cruise. I remember this one woman and God utilized her because I knew specifically she was the plug. Okay. This woman was getting us and allowing us to see things around. And so one day I'm saying to myself, okay, I was praying that night and I just knew we were going to be going off we were going to go off the ship at the same time. And I was like, well, God, I want to do something different. I don't want to do what she's doing. I want to do this. And God was like, yeah, no, you're going to be with her. Well, she told me she was getting off the ship at 6 a.m. Well, you know your girl. Y'all know me. I'm working out. I said, I'm not going off until I work out. So I worked out and I got ready and I was taking my time. I got myself together, got my daughter together. We start going downstairs. And I'm going all the way down, and I'm like, oh man, they closed down the gateway. I have to go back up the stairs. As I'm looking to go back up the stairs, guess who's coming down the stairs? The very woman that God told me the night before I would be going on the trip with. But she didn't leave at 6 a.m. I said, what happened? She's like, you know what? This has never happened. I don't know. I just was moving slow today. I've never done this. I go up the stairs. I'm like, we still don't want to do the same thing. So I'm not really sure. So we get off the boat. I try to do the same thing. I try to go find the place that I thought I want to go to. I'm doing all the stuff. And she goes to where she's going to. She knows she's done this before. She's been off this port. She knows exactly where she's going. I don't follow her. I try to make my plan happen. My plan ain't happening. No matter how hard I want it to happen, it ain't happening. I'm going back and forth. I'm like, okay, whatever. I give up. So I go in the direction she's at because I already knew God wanted me to do that. She's sitting there. She's frustrated. I'm saying, what happened? She said, they wouldn't let me on the last boat. Now I had to wait 30 minutes. She's like, the boat hadn't even left the dock yet. And they still wouldn't let me on the boat. She's like, I'm over here screaming, yelling, and they will not let me on the boat. And they had all the space. They had all these things. And I knew why. Because God knew his hard-headed daughter was going to be sitting here trying to make her plan happen. But he had already told me I was supposed to be with her. So he literally held her up so that I could go with her. And I did. And I told her, I said, you know, it's so funny. God told me that we were going to do this. She's like, that's why I couldn't get on the boat. I knew it was something. She's like, I was right there. She's like, why? I just could not understand why they wouldn't let me on the boat. And I knew why. And when I told her, it made sense to her too. She's a woman of faith as well. And it made sense to her. I'm saying this to say, family, God's plan supersedes all things. I'm the same person that when God told me to not pay a bill, and I'm like, God, I don't believe God for bills. That's not my thing. That's not who Sam is. And so I stop. I go to the mailbox and I wait till the day of. And I'm like, but I knew something in the spirit just told me it was okay. I had peace about it, even though this was an uncomfortable situation, but I was walking in crazy faith. I didn't try to make it happen. I didn't try nothing. I go to the mailbox. I kid you not, there's one check in there. That one check covered not only that bill, but every bill I had at that time. I'm telling you, family, that when you start walking in crazy faith, you start seeing God move in crazy ways. My daughter started telling me the other day, she was like, Mommy, there was an angel in my room last night. I know, because I know there's angels here. I felt them. I've seen things move. I've seen different things happen that I can't explain by logic. I can't explain it. I've smelled a sweet aroma when I walk into my house, and I'm like, where is that sweet aroma? I've heard music that don't come from my head. I'm like, why do I think of this song? But it's in line with a prayer I just prayed. I'm telling you, I've seen the supernatural happen. I've seen it happen. And you open the door to the supernatural when you're radically obedient. It don't have to make sense to nobody but you and God, period. But God is never going to lead you. I'm telling you this, and I've seen God be faithful in these last 5 or 6 months of my life. I've seen him be faithful in such a way. Family, I mean, literally, somebody said an angel visits people for me. Angels are real. You can Google it, go on YouTube. There are people that have caught them on camera. Go look it. I don't know what else you want. You may not want to believe that. That's fine. Do what you want. You think people over thousands upon thousands of years talking about the same God, talking about the same angels, you think that just happens for no reason? Look at an Amazon package. When they have bad reviews on Amazon, do people buy the Amazon package anymore? No. They don't. They stopped buying Amazon. Why? Because it has bad reviews. And you think that over time, if this God thing wasn't real or didn't have something to it, that people would be believing in God for thousands upon thousands of years? Yes, baby, go ahead. It happens. Look online. Just look at miracles. I think people don't want to believe that there is a real supernatural realm. Look, somebody says angels and demons are, they are, family. Look it up. I'm not making this stuff up. There's literally pastors there's a group of pastors on YouTube called Demon Slayers. That is what they're called. And they travel all the world and they cast out spirits. And you can literally watch them do it. I don't recommend it because spirits are not bound by physical location. So I wouldn't watch it if I were you. But if you want to watch, then you don't believe there's a demonic realm, you go ahead and watch them. Look it up. There's a guy that got millions of followers. He does a deliverance ministry, and you can literally watch it for yourself. I've seen him. It was a mistake. I saw him do a deliverance or an exorcism on a 5-year-old all the way up to a 45-year-old. And it literally shifted me. Because I was, and mind you, I'm a therapist by trade. So I'm sitting here thinking, people got, it might be, no. That's demonic. That's not a mental health issue. That's demonic. They are different. I know. That is demonic. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You watch the video yourself. There's no doubt about it. That is demonic. That is a spirit. I don't care what nobody says. Look it up yourself. It's all over YouTube. I'm like, I'm not watching that. But it is real. You said, what's the name of them? Oh my gosh, what was that guy's name? Hold on. Some one guy named, he's from Blair on YouTube. I hate when I do this because the enemy does not like me doing this, y'all, because, oh my gosh. Is he online? What's his name? Vlad is one. Not Vlad Shavuk. He's one. He's one that they talk about a lot. There's another guy. So Greg Locke is one. There's a few of them. There's a guy named Isaiah, I know. There's a guy. What's this other guy's name? I guess David Hernandez is one. Vlad is the one that's coming up a lot. I know he's like one of the main ones. They have him. He's on a panel for it. I know that he's like really big on. Oh, Mike Signorelli. Mike Signorelli. He's also one. So yeah, there's a few of them. You can look it up online. Anyway, long story short. Let's keep going. Sorry, y'all. Truth says walk heavy. Thank you, Truth. Thank you, Truth, for supporting me. Thank you. Michael says 10 nice message. You did that. Gosh out. Thank you so much. And the olive bar sales. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Okay, so we're gonna go through this, y'all. So the pressure intensifies. Number 2 sign that you are going through, that a breakthrough is near. Number 2. Doors start closing that were once open. Things that used to work suddenly stop working. Relationships, resources, or opportunities may start falling away. And so God will often close the wrong doors before he opens the right ones. Closed doors are protection, not punishment. Closed doors are protection, not punishment. And as you grow along this wilderness journey, God will start requiring you to close doors. At first, he closes doors that you can't close because you won't close them. But as you grow in your obedience towards him, some of your tests are going to be closing doors without having an understanding of why. God may be calling you out of something and you don't really get why. And you don't know until afterwards. I just had that happen last week. God had me close the door and I'm like, I don't even. And then let me tell you something. He told me why. Monday morning, I found out. But I had to be obedient first and allow him to answer the question when he decides to answer the question. Because my answer now is this going to make him mad? Because I'd rather make a person mad than my God mad. Period. I'd rather if I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but I was like, I'd rather them be upset than God be upset with me. And y'all, can I tell you God was right? Of course he was. But I didn't have the answer before I closed the door. I closed the door out of obedience. I didn't close the door knowing why he wanted me to close that door. And then I found out. Number 3, you're being pruned and stripped of comfort. You're being pruned and stripped of comfort. When God starts taking people away, relationships away, jobs away, when things are just going and falling away, best friends starts acting funny, your family members, they start rubbing you the wrong way. It's like you're in a season where things that always felt right don't feel right no more. When God is removing things and calling you into a deeper place of surrender and stillness. I remember during my wilderness season, family, one of the main things was that I was isolated a lot. I would close my door, and it was kind of tough because, like, even with my daughter, I had to find balance. All I did, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I would rush home to go into my room and just talk to God. I just want to be with him. I think in the season, once I started stop fighting, trying to get to the outcome I wanted to get to, and I just started like really just appreciating how close I felt to God, I became addicted to it a little bit. If being honest with you, I would find ways to speak to him again. Like I just wanted to get back to him. And I think that in that season, that was what was needed. I needed to have that. I needed to hear God for myself, not depend on somebody else to hear God for me, right? That's how we get deceived. We don't trust our ear. We're now trusting somebody else's ear, and God is trying to work on your ear. He wants you to hear him for yourself. You don't have to go through a prophet. You don't have to go to somebody else. You can hear God for yourself, but you can't know what God is saying if you don't know his word. If you don't know his word and you're not spending quality time with him, you cannot know what God is telling you. Not clearly. Because in order to understand what God would say, in what season God would say it, you have to spend time with him. You have to seek him out for yourself. So do not be deceived, family. So being pruned is stripped of comfort. And I definitely believe that. I definitely believe that. I've been pruned and stripped of comfort where God isolated me from all the variables and he had me one-on-one with him. And I really started to learn his voice. No longer was I depending on somebody else to tell me what God was saying. I was really hearing his voice. And then literally once I got in the habit of that, which it takes 9 weeks to create a habit, that's when he started bringing people into my life. Once I got to that 9 to 12 week mark, he started bringing people back in because we are supposed to be in community. But for that season, for that 12 weeks, I was in consecration with him. Fully. Number 4 is you start seeing confirmations everywhere. God keeps sending confirmations through scripture, sermons, people, or even dreams that align with what you're praying for. Family, I literally had somebody say something to me today that isn't really in the faith. Like they're in the faith, but not really in the faith like that. Like they're not. And I'm like, is God talking to you? And that's just God showing you he's sovereign. He's bigger than what we limit God like he can't talk to somebody across the world about you. We limit God like he's not as big and as sovereign and as powerful as he is. He is all powerful, almighty, all knowing, all over the place at the same time. And so you might go somewhere and let's say God is telling you you're about to have a child. He gonna have people say to you, have you thought about having a baby? I could see you having a baby. I could see you thought about, I think it's your wife's season, sis. I think it's your time. You're like, what? How do you know? God been talking to you? I think you're about to do, God is taking you into a new season, girl. I know it. How you know? And God is just showing you, I'm sovereign. And now I'm seeing messages and I'm seeing different people saying random things. And I'm going different places like, what? Hold on. And that's God showing you, no, I'm bigger than. Girl, you know I'm God. Did you forget I'm God? I know what it looked like, and I know in the world it don't seem like. God works in the unseen. The enemy works in the scene. The enemy, that's how he distracts us with what we see. God is always working in the unseen. You're not going to see it until you see it. He's not going to, he might give you some blues clues. You might see a cardinal fly above your car. You're like, that's God. And your friend might be like, that's God. And then bam, it happens. And you realize that God is working in the unseen. He's not going to give you all these, in the flesh, we want all these confirmations, all these affirmations, we want all this evidence to back up what we're believing. God's currency is faith. He is not going to show you until it's time. He's not going to bring you into it until it's time. He's just not. There's no evidence until you're just in it. You walk in it and it's like, oh, wow. I've seen people talk about their story and they're like, I didn't even know that you even liked me. God was talking to me about you and I just didn't even know. And the other person's like, you always had this. I just always noticed you. I don't know. I'm kind of drawn to you. I don't know. I would have never known that. I saw a story with a beautiful couple that was, God paired them together and it was very clear. And they literally had no idea until the guy like randomly wrote her and said, I love you. And he didn't know that she had gone through this whole process about him. And she didn't know he was going through a whole process about her. They had no idea until it was time. God works in the unseen. You will not see it until suddenly. We're looking for all these. God told me that's my opportunity, but I don't see anything around. I don't see it. I don't see that. Well, then you working. That's probably God then. If you don't see it, but you're having all these confirmations, there's a peace in your spirit about it. Probably God. Your situation looks nothing like what God is talking to you about. It's probably God. You're looking like a crazy person. You got to be willing to look like a fool for Christ. He uses the foolish things to confound the wise. Right? So you start seeing confirmations everywhere. God keeps sending confirmations. Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets. Amos 3:7. Breakthrough is often preceded by a flood of clarity. God doesn't want you to miss the shift, so he sends signs. All right? Number 5, last but not least, there's a supernatural peace in chaos. Looks like your whole world is crumbling. Everything you thought you knew is falling apart around you. But for whatever reason, you have this peace. You know everything's going to be okay. Outside of what you see and the enemy utilizing that to get you into doubt and worry. But outside of those moments, there's a peace you have you can't explain. You might be in a situation and people are like, why are you so okay with this? Why are you not fighting this? You don't even know why yourself. God is calling you to do things that just don't make sense logically. That's because God's called you into it. That even though you're in a situation that literally makes no sense, there's a peace that comes with all the hoopla. That once you settle down and you get in your prayer time and your spirit, there's a peace that comes with the uncertainty. And you know that all things are working for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to their purpose. That no weapon formed against you will prosper. That every voice raised to accuse you will be silenced. These are the benefits that are going to be enjoyed by me, the Lord has spoken. That the Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. He makes you lie down in green pastures. He leads you beside peaceful streams, renewing your strength. Sorry, y'all. He guides you along all the right paths, bringing honor to your name, to his name. Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for he is with you. His rod and his staff comfort and protect you. He will prepare a feast for you in the presence of your enemies. He will honor you by anointing your head with oil. Your cup will overflow with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will follow you all the days of your life, and you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That what the enemy meant for evil, God is working for your good. That he does exceedingly and abundantly above all that he could ever ask, think, or imagine. That I haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and minds can't even imagine all that God has prepared for you. That he says to forget the former things, do not dwell in the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness. I'm making streams in the desert. God is saying, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? Says in Psalms 91, those who live in the shelter of the Most High will find rest in the shadow of the Almighty. This alone I declare about the Lord. He alone is my refuge, my place of safety. He is my God, and I trust him. For he will rescue me from every trap, and he will protect me from deadly disease. He will cover me with his feathers. He will shelter me with his wings. His faithful promises are my armor and protection. I will not be afraid of the terrors of the night, nor the arrows that fly in the day. I will not dread the disease that stalks in the darkness, or the disaster that strikes at midday. Though 1,000 fall at my side, though 10,000 are dying around me, these evils will not touch me. Just open your eyes and see how the wicked are punished. When I make the Lord my refuge, when I make the Most High my shelter, no evil will conquer me, no plague will come near my home. For he will order his angels to protect me wherever I go. They will hold me up with their hands, so I won't even hurt my foot on a stone. I will trample upon lions and cobras. I will crush fierce lions and serpents underneath my feet. The Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I'll protect those who trust in my name. When they call me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. I will grant them with long life and give them my salvation. God is for you. When you start understanding, when you start standing on the promises of God, and you are radically obedient, I am living proof that you leave room for the supernatural. You leave room for the supernatural. You leave room for the supernatural. Radically obedient. What does that mean? That means that when God told me to go left, I went left. Still now. Not because I want the promised land so bad. I want to be in alignment. I like this alignment. I like the way I feel. And whenever I felt like I was out of alignment, I immediately repented. When he said left, I went left. He said right, I said right. Give this up, okay. Do content like this, okay. Start a new channel, do it like this, okay. Start posting things like this, okay. Stop posting things like that, okay. Stop doing this, okay. Stop working with them, okay. Stop doing this, okay. It was radical obedience. It was stop dating, stop this, stop that. Okay. It was radical obedience. Radical. So you ain't got a man, but you not dating? Why? God called me not to. God told me to allow him to process me in the season. Focus on him solely, so he can create the wife in me that I'm supposed to be, the Esther that I'm called to be, the level of faith that I would need for the assignment. Because being a wife is an assignment. It's not just a role. It's an assignment. It's a calling. He's called me into a season where I've learned his voice. And there's times where I still struggle with it. But I've learned how God speaks to me. That's all intentional. And a lot of people were like, well, you're so bold about your faith. Like, you feel like that's going to turn men off? Ladies, if I can be honest with you, I think more men probably pursue me for real because of my relationship with God and how open I am about my faith than ever. I mean, I've had, yes, I've had men approach me, but intentionally, like, really, like, what's up? Like, I know what this is. They're not coming at me like, oh, you want to date. They come at me like, oh, you want to get married. The world telling you, culture telling you, you got to sell your soul and sexualize yourself to get men's attention. That's what culture telling you. I'm telling you that when you walk a certain path, the right, even men that you thought would. Because they like to see a woman who's disciplined. They like to see a woman who is out here like really walking in faith, walking with her creator. A woman that could be out here and doing a lot of different things, but I don't. Why? Not because I have a man in my life, because God's called me to do it. So yeah, I get a lot more respect. Yeah, I get a lot more serious people. Even men that you don't think are serious hit me up because they're serious. Why? Because again, family, it's culture's telling us, oh, sexualize yourself, twerk, do all these things online. Yeah, you're getting a certain type of attention, but you're not getting intention. You're getting attention, not intention. Intention is, I know what that is. I'm not coming at her until I really know what's up. Attention is, oh, you bad. Like, I didn't know the difference. God had to teach me that. The difference between attention and intention. What about the guy? What about the guy that, you know, I'm like, I don't want them anyway. Yeah, I could have been still doing what I was doing. Sure. I'm getting attention. And yeah, I had a mix of, you know, I'm obviously doing content the way I've been doing it. I don't think I've ever not been classy, but God has called me to a higher level, and I've received the calling. But I don't want a man that don't want a woman that's like me. Like, I'm a woman, I am called to do what God has called me to do. And I want a man that understands that I'm chasing purpose. And I'm gonna help him chase purpose too. Because I want a purpose partner. I want to be a helpmate. I want to push him towards I want to be that. I want to pray for him and fast for him and do those things. I want that. I have that desire to be that type of woman. That's a desire of my heart. And God's gonna bring the man. But I think we feel like we've got to do, and God's telling me you've got to trust. You don't have to do. You don't have to make it happen. The world says, oh, where are you going to find this man, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, if God can send an envelope in the mail, if God can do healing, if God can provide, miraculous healing stories that I have, if God can tell me that somebody had this amount of money and they needed to know what this is about, or they had a bill that was paid and I didn't know, but I sent this amount. If God can use me to bless others, or use others to bless me, and I didn't even talk about it, and if he can let money just show up, or opportunities just show up, or confirmation just show up, or a bird fly over my house at the same time as something else, if God can do those things, he can send me a man. That's easy. He done harder things in my life. I don't have to strive and put myself in the right positions so that I can find the man. No. My sovereign Lord gonna bring me exactly who he desires for me to be with. He's done harder things. He's done harder things. Yes, baby. I just gotta look it up, okay? No, they're real estate. They're still alive. I know they are, baby. I know. Yeah. Okay. My pastor said being a wife is an office. Being a wife is an office, family. That's part of the problem. Why is marriages ending? Why are women filing for divorce? Because they're not prepared for process. They want a position they're not prepared for. That's why. And there's husbands that want to be husbands that are not prepared to be a husband. Being a husband is an office. Being a husband is the head office. You the head honcho. You numero uno. Being a husband is office. Being a wife is an office. And I feel like we don't want to be prepared. We just want what we want when we want it. Instant gratification. We just marry a man. When we don't allow God, we do not allow God to prepare us. We just don't. So, anyway, y'all, I know I'm saying a lot, but I'm passionate about this. I'll probably talk a little bit more about this. The truth and righteousness in you, Sam, is more attractive than the superficial, and is radiating all over you, the heavenly glow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you guys. And I want to thank everybody for the support. Ephesians 5 and 6, man. Ephesians 5:25. I'm praying for my Ephesians 5:25. Preach Sam, building treasures in heaven. Walk heavy. CJ Ward, thank you. Michael, tonight's message. You did that, God's child. The Oliver says, send me something. Thank you so much. The Kings and Queens and YouTube user. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Oh, somebody say you light up my day. Thank you. That's so sweet. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I know it was a longer live. This one's very passionate for me because I've just went through a season, and I believe I'm going to go through other seasons as well. But I really want to speak in words of encouragement because I know that when you're about to break through, it literally looks like the opposite. But I want to encourage you to walk heavy, walk heavy, walk heavy, walk heavier. When it looks like it's not going to happen, walk heavier. Go even harder. Go even further. Swing even harder. Know that God is in it. God is for you. And if God is for you, who can be against you? If God is with you, who can be against you? The odds are in your favor. The odds are in your favor. All right? I love you, family. And I'm going to jump off. Of course, the enemy wanted me to have congestion like crazy. I haven't been congested all day. But of course, just like the enemy, messed me up. All right, family, I love y'all. Y'all have a good night, and I will talk to you guys soon. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back on, I think I'm going to start going live on my other channel, on More Than Just Pretty channel. I got to think about that, but I think I'm going to start doing some lives on there. So anyway, family, I love y'all. Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.